Good afternoon, everybody. It is 6:49 p.m. on Saturday, June 17, 2023. I hope you enjoy this tin. I bought it on Temu a couple of months ago. It says, "On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. Welcome to the Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave." If you remember that song by the Eagles. But anyway, this one's really cute. It's got like a little hippie girl with a peace sign, a little doggy, another little doggy, a couple of little bunch of dogs here. But anyway, this is a more of a somber topic, and I'm sure everybody will be able to provide their own examples of the potential effects of psychological harassment. It's the psychological effects of organized stalking program, and I received it by the same targeted woman who provided that testimony about the directed energy weapons. So before I read that and the link that she provided, please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow and fights the cyber stalkers, and welcome all the newcomers. My name is Lorraine. Okay, here we go. The potential effects of psychological harassment. Now, this is her personal accounting. I mean, I might add a few of my own because there are certainly quite a few. So she goes on to say, "Today I want to write about the effects of psychological harassment, unfortunately prevalent in society today. Many do not understand that the end consequence of this harassment protocol is to destroy a person. The tactics employed can be very effective. I'm including a document that speaks directly to this topic. I identify much of what is written, and I know many others who have had similar experiences. Because of the secrecy of the program, while a person may know or highly suspect that rumors, etc., are being widely circulated, adding to the devastating outcome, has been the reality that no one is coming forth with information to confirm or inform that the targeting is occurring. Frankly, what good would it do anyway? We can choose to be thankful for the good things we still encounter in life, mainly loved ones and a few good friends, and God's wonderful provision and protection. While their tactics try to tear us down, we can opt for a better way, a more loving way to treat one another on life's journey. That is what I will attempt to do. In the way of all of this being handled, fairness and loyalty to a person from those who have only had good and not bad from a relationship are perhaps even joining in with the ongoing psychological assault. To be fair, though, I do not know the means the psychological harassment is being rolled out into the public forum. It is hard to speak to the motives of those with knowledge, but not speaking up to help relieve some of the distress from the targeting. I have lost contact with many people, perhaps because of what is out in the public forum, or perhaps the normalcy of life has been marginalized to the point of making ongoing relationships not meaningful. The psychological harassment tactics truly are isolating. I'm going to include a link to a webpage documenting some of the tactics being used, and I identify with many of them. They are hard to miss when experiencing it. I'm going to include an excerpt from the webpage because it provides a very good explanation of the tactics used and who seems to be using them. Note, I cannot verify the authenticity of the article's author, but frankly it seems to fit with what I have surmised by witnessing the participants and how very well organized the program is. Worldwide programs of control and conformity have been used with equal success and lethality. What we are now seeing is a global, coordinated, and organized effort of control and conformity. Many countries around the world are currently using a model of policing called Community Orienting Policing. That's the COPS program, folks, by the DOJ. It's funded by the Department of Justice. DOJ, I mean. It's described as a systemic approach to policing. It focuses on instilling a sense of community within a geographically located neighborhood. Communities come together and discuss what values they would like to have in their community. Community development, and it's also a time to discuss any problems that might be happening in a specific area. If a problem identified, an investigation might be opened. These local programs in many countries have been forming partnerships with other government-run programs at provincial, state, and federal levels. Reports of gang stalking are not only coming in from democratic countries, but they are coming in from many other countries as well. So she provides a link here, and I will move over to that link in a little bit. As part of this document, I want to express a very deep appreciation to those in my life who have remained supportive in every possible way. Even while not fully understanding the entire situation, or perhaps even questioning what is happening to cause such aberration in behavior to the point of isolation, it has affected every relationship that I have had, many times with those I love most in all the world. God knows all about this, and He knows all about the love and care you have supplied in many forms and with the motivation behind it. Thank you, my dear ones. You are amazing. I ditto what she's saying here, folks. I mean, I like really feel it. The other source of strength during this seemingly endless time of being alone, at times frightened and discouraged, and seeking answers through prayer and God's Word, has been those in the faith community who have remained so strong and supportive through their ministries, devotional writing, YouTube presentations, and radio programming. God bless you. You may not know this side of heaven, how many lives you are touching through your ministries and willingness to speak truth and provide a means of fellowship when attending community worship has become marginalized for a variety of reasons. In closing, I thank God for His faithfulness, love, forgiveness, grace, and wisdom. At times, He has literally wrapped His arms around those who are hurting and needing to know, truly know, that He will never leave or forsake us. I have grown closer to Him during this difficult time of isolation. I have also gained a better insight into how He wants us to love Him and truly love and care for others. There are many very powerful people in the world who need a smile or a kind word exchange. That is what it's all about. I told my stepdaughter the other day that I am learning. I want to be recognized by love and friendliness, which has always been my heart. I do not want to let anger or fear, because of injustice or wrongs being committed, be my presence in the world. God is so faithful, and I do love Him very much. Hope this information may be helpful to someone, especially the link I have included for those in the TI community who have not seen it documented in such a manner. One additional comment to those orchestrating these behaviors: I truly believe that in the end, though you may cause terror and distress, you will not win the battle. Your battle is with someone far more powerful than you. If you know me, and by now I believe you do, I'm not talking about myself. We both know that the foes and their tactics can far outmaneuver the human with their limitations. No, I'm speaking of God, who has supreme and total control over all events on this planet, and in the end, He will have the final say on these matters. Stay strong, think good thoughts, and know that in the end, the truth always wins. Thank you very much for this, my dear. It's excellent, and I'm sure that others feel as you do, that the truth will always win out. Now I'm going to take you to the link that she provided. And here it is, folks. And the link is to an article from 2013. It says, "Are you stalking an innocent victim?" It's a description of organized stalking in Sonoma County. This is actually written by Rosanne Schneider. Neighbor. I know Rosanne. Hi, Rosanne. I didn't realize you wrote this. It was posted February 22nd, 2013. Unfortunately, organized stalking is alive and well in Sonoma County. I know this because I am an innocent victim of this practice. Please educate yourself. This is criminal activity perpetrated by criminal interests. Don't be fooled. Please read this. What is gang stalking? Gang stalking is a covert investigation that is opened on an individual. The individual is then placed under overt and covert forms of surveillance. The person is followed around 24/7. Foot patrols and vehicle patrols are used to follow the individual around as part of the monitoring process. During these patrols, a one-handed sign language is used to assist the citizen informants with communicating to each other. Gang stalking is also a systemic form of control, which seeks to control every aspect of a targeted individual's life. Gang stalking has many similarities to workplace mobbing, but takes place outside in the community. It is called gang stalking because the target is followed around and placed under intrusive and directed surveillance by groups of organized, covert human intelligence sources, also known as citizen informants. Okay, I'm going to call them, they're the rat snitches, boys and girls. They're the rats, the community rat snitches, the wannabes, the brown noses. You know, they got that little brown nose. They want to be part of something. They're the losers of the human race. Many targeted individuals are harassed and placed under surveillance in this way for months and even years before they realize that they're being targeted by an organized protocol of harassment. What happens during this gang stalking surveillance is very similar to what happened to many innocent individuals in the former East Germany or activists and dissidents in Russia. Many innocent people in the former East Germany would be targeted for these harassment programs, and then their friends, family, and community at large would be used to monitor, persecute, and harass them. In Russia, it was used by the state to declare activists, dissidents, or anyone they thought to be an enemy of the state as mentally unfit, and many were institutionalized using this form of systemic control. The closest thing to gang stalking that democratic countries have seen before this is McCarthyism, COINTELPRO, and Red Squad programs. Red Squad programs were used for monitoring and harassment of various groups. They have been in place for over 100 years, and they are also employed covert human intelligence sources. Civilian spies, also known as covert human intelligence sources. Let's just call it for what it is. They're the rat snitches. If you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. Little rat snitchy. Go run, 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 run. Oh, you could be like a 12-year-old in school. Oh, that person is doing that. Oh, here, can I have a gift card? Civilian spies. They're recruited from every level and sector of society. Just like with COINTELPRO investigations, everyone in the target's life is made a part of this ongoing, never-ending, systemic psychological harassment and manipulation of the target. These actions are specifically designed to control the target and keep them in line. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that little sign I've got here, folks? Here. It's called, I Do What I Want. Thank you. Okay, so They're designed to destroy the target over years, make them look crazy, and leave them with no form of support. Yeah, I guess that worked really well during neighborhood wars. I don't know, folks. It looked like my rat snitch neighbors look like the nutcases that they truly are. For the targets of this harassment, gang stalking is experienced as a covert, psychological, emotional, and physical attack that is capable of immobilizing and destroying a target over time. For the state, it's a way to keep the targets in line, control them, and destroy them. Worldwide programs of control and conformity have been used with equal success and lethality. What we are seeing now is a global, coordinated, and organized effort of control and conformity. Many countries around the world are currently using a model of policing called community-oriented policing. It's described as a systemic approach to policing. It focuses on instilling a sense of community within a geographically located neighborhood. Communities come together and discuss the values they would like to have in their community development, and it's also a time to discuss any problems that might be happening in a specific area. If a problem is identified, an investigation might be opened. These local programs in many countries have been forming partnerships with other government-run programs at the provincial, state, and federal levels. Reports of gang stalking are not only coming in the form of democratic countries, but they're coming from many other countries as well. The modern-day systemic form of control could only be funded at higher governmental levels, just like it has in other societies where these similar types of harassment programs have been implemented. It's all part of a system of control and conformity that have been in place for many years. A system of control with many local groups and appendages taking part. I'd like to add something to this, folks. When they talk about the community getting together to decide what values they want, you have to take a look at the community, folks. There are many communities that are completely dysfunctional. It's like a dysfunctional family getting together. And if you understand what that means, if you've been like an outcast in your family, if you have friends whose families are totally dysfunctional, nobody gets along, emotionally unstable, addiction, alcohol abuse, totally dysfunctional. So it depends on the community. I'm sure there are communities out there where there really is something going on for the better good. I don't see that happening here, folks. I read the local paper and I just see all hell breaking loose everywhere. I don't see that anybody's doing any good around here. And when you grow up in a community and you stay there your entire life, you don't know anything outside of that community. The only way that communities grow is with change. Growth is change. Nobody grows if you stay the same. So anyway, I disagree with the way these communities get together for the better good, right? But anyway, how are targets chosen? Targets can be chosen for many reasons. They can be chosen for political views. They can be chosen for whistleblowing. They can be chosen because they belong to a dissident movement. They can be chosen because they asserted their rights at work. They can be chosen because they made the wrong enemy. Oh, who hasn't made the wrong enemy, right? We are considered to be too outspoken, unwittingly investigated something that the state did not want investigated, signed a petition, wrote a letter. They were deemed as suspicious by a civilian spy snitch, and their names were handed over. Could you imagine, folks? Imagine you signed a petition, and a civilian spy was like, wow, she signed a petition. Wow, she exerted her rights in a lawsuit. Wow, Like, is that suspicious? Making the wrong enemy? Why? Standing up for your rights? Just because somebody is envious and jealous and greedy? They're the enemy. You're just going about your daily business and they choose to pick on you or single you out because they don't like you, because you have something they want. You are somebody that they'll never be. Sounds a little psychotic to me. Just go on with your life. It's becoming apparent that targets might be chosen for this systemic form of control if they are not already in some way part of this controlled system. For example, many targeted individuals seem to be unaware that large chunks of our society are now being used as citizen informants. Well, I never knew. I honestly never knew, folks, until a few years ago. So what are the goals of gang stalking? The goal is to isolate the target from all forms of support so that the target can be set up in the future for arrest, institutionalization, or forced suicide. Other goals of this harassment is to destroy the target's reputation and credibility and make the target look crazy or unstable. See, and this is what narcissists and psychopaths do. They isolate the victim. They don't want the victim to have friends. You know why? They don't want the victim to have relationships with their family members. And the reason is because outsiders will be able to validate that the victim, the targeted person, is being harassed, is being destroyed, may have bruises on their body. They'll be able to validate harassment. They'll be able to validate vandalism. If you show people something, they can't just turn around and say, I don't see that. Especially somebody that knows you a long time. It's obvious. So isolating the victim for a lot of reasons. They don't want somebody who knows the victim a long time to notice all the bizarre changes that are happening that are alarming to the friends or family members. And it doesn't mean that it's happening naturally. It means that the person is being harassed and tormented. People with half a brain who know the individual, who has some kind of self-awareness and perspective, performs their own research, can make that determination on their own. You don't need to isolate someone for these criminals to control the person. Right? They isolate you because they don't want you to have support. It's not normal to be isolated. I mean, even in prison, right? People go into solitary confinement as a punishment. Right? Let's say they get into a fight or something, or they beat up a guard. You know, they'll go into isolation for a while. Nobody likes that. But then they'll bring them back into the general prison population. Right? Not with the targeted person. They set up all these little community rat snitches, the go along to get along mind control puppets to harass innocent people. Well, that's their karma. Because in the end, when you are harming an innocent person for profit, for fun, for kicks and giggles, it is not going to end well for you. I'm just going to say it right flat out. It will never work out for you. Stalker, rat snitch, never. And on a good day, Neighborhood Wars will snag your ass and post your video all over the internet to see the truth. And I'm all about the truth, folks. So anyway, these programs are designed to make the targets of this harassment vulnerable. They want to make them destitute. The secondary goals seem to be to make the target homeless, jobless, give them a breakdown. And the primary goals seem to be to drive the target to forced suicide. Just like what they did with some of the targets in COINTELPRO. It's a useful way of eliminating perceived enemies of the state. And you know, folks, with the technology, if they didn't have the technology, they would be nowhere. Zero. Nowhere. The technology wears you down. It wears down your adrenals. It wears down your body, your bones, everything. Stress is cumulative. It's not good for you. Now it goes on to say, who gets targeted? Targeting could happen to anyone in society. In the past, primary targets of this program, such as COINTELPRO, have been minorities. Targeting, however, can happen to anyone. Individuals are targeted for being outspoken, whistleblowers, dissidents, people who go up against wealthy corporations, women's groups, single women, anti-war proponents, individuals identified or targeted as problems at these community meetings, and other innocent individuals. The majority of targets are often not aware that they're being targeted in this way. When a target moves, changes jobs, the harassment still continues. Every time the target moves, the same information, lies and slander will be spread out into the new community, and the systemic monitoring and harassment will continue. And then there's a link here, traits of those targeted. So, and I'll get to that. So who takes part? People from all walks of life are being recruited to be the eyes and ears of the state. People from all races, ages, genders, every sector of society that you can think of is part of this. Civilians, spies, snitches include, but are not limited to, the general laborers, wealthy bikers, drug dealers, drug users, street people, punks, hip-hop culture, the KKK, black activists, church groups, youth groups, firefighters, police, lawyers, healthcare workers, storekeepers, maids, janitors, cable installers. Oh yeah. Phone repair persons, mail carriers, locksmiths, electricians. There really is no minimum or maximum age range. The article came out recently in the UK saying they were recruiting children as young as 8 years old. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Some of these citizens might be recruited via programs such as Citizen Corp, Weed and Seed, Citizens on Phone Patrol, which is COPP, Citizen City Watch, TIPS. Many started with good intentions to help patrol and monitor their cities and neighborhoods. And others are recruited via their families, others at school, work. Every sector, class, race, and society takes part. Recruitment is multifaceted. Many do not understand or care that the end consequence of this harassment is to destroy a person. Why do people participate in gang stalking? There are many reasons that someone takes part in this activity. Some do it for the sense of power it gives them. Others do it as a way to make friends and keep friends. It's something social and fun for them to do. I mean, how sick is that, folks? Many in society use the one-handed sign language to communicate. It's very effective in breaking down race, gender, age, and social barriers. Others are forced or blackmailed by the state or police into taking part. They are told that they are part of Homeland or national security and are being used to help keep an eye on dangerous or emotionally disturbed individuals. They see themselves as heroic spies for the state. Civilian spies can come from a variety of different programs such as Citizen Corp, Citizens... okay, so now it goes on. It's repeating the same thing again here, folks. Others are just local thugs or informants who are already being used for other activities, and their energies are just being diverted over into these community spy programs. For example, some may be given the choice of spying for the state or the police versus going to jail. Others are told outright lies and slanders about the target to get them to go along with ruining the target's life. Many are, however, just average citizens who have been recruited by the state the same way citizens were recruited in the former East Germany and other countries. It's the way the society is. What are some techniques used against targets? Well, there's classical conditioning. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Classical conditioning, surveillance 24/7, isolation of a target, noise and mimicking campaigns, everyday life's little breaks in street theater. And where does the support and funding come from? Though gang stalking itself is immoral and unethical in nature, it is funded by the government. They are the only ones with enough money, coordination, and power to keep such a system in place. And these coordinated efforts then join hands with others for the systemic form of control and harassment. They are the red squads. And what can you do to help? If you know someone is being targeted in this way, please do not go along with it. Don't assume that the person is guilty or a bad person. Many innocent people are currently being targeted and people are being told lies. This form of harassment is systemic and it's about state control and conformity. The express goal of this harassment is to destroy the individual over time. And if you're aware of someone being harassed in this way, subtly direct them to websites that deal with gang stalking or for targeted individuals. Knowledge is power. You can subtly offer your support to someone who's being unfairly treated in very small ways. You can bring up the subject of gang stalking or targeted individuals. You can subtly suggest that your local newspaper or community papers print articles about targeted individuals or even write an objective piece about gang stalking. Well, I tried to do that. You get blocked around here for doing that, folks. You get totally blocked. So I'm going to switch over to the traits. Oh, well, wait a minute. Okay, now the website is, it says here, we'll be back soon. I clicked on traits of targeted people, and I'm getting we'll be back soon. Sorry for the inconvenience. We're performing some system maintenance. So I don't have that information for you. But what I'll do is I will post a link in the description center so you can retrieve this article yourself. So I hope that you learned something from this. Are you stalking an innocent victim? And the psychological tactics that are used when you're targeted. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, signing off for now.